Hi, everyone. Before we get into this audiobook, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button and drop a like. It helps me out a lot as well as contributes a lot to the channel. Now let's get into the story. I hope you enjoy. The crisp scent of pine and damp earth filled the air, a familiar comfort in the ancient forests of the Moonwood Pack. For me, Lyra, every breath was a silent prayer to the Luna, a plea for the bond to finally snap into place. My twin sister Rhea and I, both unmated at 22, had spent our lives dreaming of the day the Alpha, the formidable leader of our pack, would find his destined mate. We both harbored a secret, unspoken hope that fate would choose us. But when the Alpha's powerful bond finally surged through the clearing, a shimmering wave of raw, untamed energy, his eyes, burning with primal recognition, locked onto her, Rhea. I felt the pain instantly, a searing ache in my chest, because I knew, with a certainty that clawed at my soul, that the bond, that powerful, undeniable pull, was meant for me. Someone had interfered. Now, I had to uncover the truth, to unmask the deception, before my sister claimed the life, and the mate that was rightfully mine. The pack house had always been a symphony of scents for me. The grounding aroma of aged pine, the subtle spice of simmering healing herbs from the communal kitchen, and the undeniable earthy musk of hundreds of wolves living maw. In close proximity, it wasn't just a physical place. It was a sensory anchor, a constant reassurance of belonging, of the intricate tapestry of lives that formed the Moonwood Pack. For me, Lyra, it was the essence of home, of deeply ingrained traditions, of a destiny I had patiently, sometimes even desperately awaited. My twin sister, Rhea, and I had grown up within its sturdy walls, our lives shaped by the ancient rhythms of our wolf heritage and the watchful, loving eyes of our parents, both esteemed warriors who served the pack with quiet dedication. At 22, we were both still unmated, a fact that drew hushed whispers and curious glances. It was unusual for twin sisters to remain unmated past their 21st year, adding an extra layer of anticipation to our already burgeoning hopes for a fated bond. We talked about it sometimes, late at night, our voices soft in the shared darkness of our room, dreaming of the day the Luna would reveal our true partners. I had always been the quieter of the two of us, more inclined to observe than to participate in the boisterous social rituals of the pack. My movements were deliberate, thoughtful, and my silver-gray eyes, often veiled by a contemplative expression, seemed to absorb every detail of my surroundings. I possessed an innate, almost spiritual connection to the ancient magic that permeated the vast forest surrounding our territory. It was a quiet strength, a subtle hum beneath my calm exterior, that drew me deep into the woods for hours on end. I didn't just train there, I listened. I felt the pulse of the earth through the pads of my paws when in my wolf form, deciphering the subtle shifts in the wind, understanding the nuanced language of the rustling leaves. I felt the pack, too, its collective consciousness a faint, reassuring thrum against my own, and a deep, intuitive knowing had always whispered to me that my bond, my true purpose, was intertwined with the very heart of our community, inextricably linked to its leader. Rhea, in stark contrast, was a vibrant burst of uncontainable energy, a dazzling kaleidoscope of effervescent laughter and impulsive charm. Her bright, expressive hazel eyes sparkled with an irresistible mischief, and her quick, witty banter could disarm even the sternest, most unyielding of pack elders. She was effortlessly graceful, vivaciously charismatic, and possessed an almost magnetic ability to draw attention and affection wherever she went. Everyone in the pack adored Rhea. And I, despite our differences, loved Rhea fiercely, with the kind of protective, unwavering devotion only a twin could truly comprehend. Our sisterly bond was an undeniable force, woven into the very fabric of our beings. A constant, unspoken understanding that transcended mere words. We shared a room, a lifetime of secrets, and shared dreams of finding our mates, of fulfilling our individual destinies within the embrace of our beloved pack. The alpha of the Moonwood Pack was Xander, a formidable and deeply revered leader. He was 30 years old, his frame muscled and powerful even in his human form, a testament to his rigorous training and inherent strength. His presence alone was commanding, filling a room with an undeniable authority. Yet it was always tempered by a quiet wisdom, a thoughtful discernment that inspired both loyalty and profound awe. His dark, intense eyes, the color of a stormy forest floor after a heavy rain, held an ancient power, a depth that hinted at centuries of ancestral strength flowing through his lineage. He had taken over the Alpha position 5 years prior, following the passing of his esteemed father, and had since led the pack with unwavering resolve, navigating complex internal disputes and formidable external threats with a calm, decisive authority that solidified his standing as a truly exceptional leader. He remained unmated, his bond yet to snap, a subject of hushed speculation and fervent prayers among the pack members. The question on everyone's mind was always the same. Who would be destined to stand beside such a powerful wolf, to become his Luna, his fated partner? The Luna's choice was sacred, absolute, undeniable. I had felt it, a subtle hum, an almost imperceptible vibration in my very bones, a growing resonance with Xander's powerful energy. When he was near, a faint warmth would spread through my chest, a quiet stirring of something profound, something deeply meaningful. I had, at first, dismissed it as merely wishful thinking, a hopeful manifestation of my deepest unspoken desires. After all, it was natural for every unmated female to feel a certain pull towards the alpha, a natural inclination towards the powerful leader of their pack. But for me, it felt undeniably different, deeper, an undeniable magnetic draw that whispered of fate, of a connection chosen by a higher power. I had never spoken of it, not even to Rhea, guarding it like a precious, fragile secret, too precious to risk voicing aloud. The annual mating ceremony was now upon us, a sacred centuries-old tradition where all unmated wolves of age gathered, their senses heightened, their hearts open and vulnerable, in the hopes that the benevolent Luna would finally reveal their destined partners. It was a time of immense anticipation, of hopeful prayers whispered to the night sky, of silent, aching longing. For Rhea and me, it was the culmination of years of waiting, of quiet expectation, of unspoken dreams poised on the precipice of realization. The day arrived, cloaked in the soft, ethereal light of a waxing moon, its gentle glow casting long, dancing shadows across the ancient clearing. The pack gathered, a sea of expectant faces, in the sacred space bathed in the flickering glow of hundreds of torches, their flames dancing in the evening breeze. The air vibrated with suppressed excitement, with the collective hopes and dreams of hundreds of wolves, their emotions almost tangible. I stood beside Rhea, our hands clasped tightly, a silent promise of support flowing between us, a shared breath holding in our chests. My heart pounded a frantic, almost painful rhythm against my ribs, a tumultuous mix of apprehension and profound anticipation. I felt it, a powerful, almost overwhelming surge of energy emanating from Xander, who stood at the very center of the clearing, his powerful wolf form just beneath the surface of his skin, radiating raw, untamed power. The bond was coming. I knew it. I felt it with every fiber of my being. Then it happened. A searing, blinding flash of pure, unadulterated light erupted from Xander. A raw, untamed burst of primal magic that ripped through the clearing, washing over every single wolf present. It was the undeniable snapping of the fated bond, the sacred, undeniable connection chosen by the Luna herself. I felt the surge, the powerful magnetic pull, the searing heat blossoming violently in my chest, dragging me toward Xander with an undeniable, irresistible force. My breath caught, a choked gasp of pure, unadulterated recognition, a primal scream of destiny echoing in my soul. This was it. This was my bond, my mate, my forever. Xander's eyes, burning with the primal molten gold of his alpha wolf, scanned the clearing, seeking his destiny. His gaze swept over the eager, hopeful faces of the unmated females until they landed. I felt my entire being tremble, my soul reaching out, screaming his name, willing his eyes to find mine. His eyes, blazing with an intensity that promised eternity, locked onto Rhea. The world seemed to tilt violently on its axis, shattering into a million sharp, agonizing pieces. The searing heat that had blossomed in my chest twisted instantly into a cold, agonizing knot, a black hole of despair. The magnetic pull snapped, violently, painfully, like a vital cord severed without warning. A gasp, a strangled sob, tore from my lips, unheard amidst the collective murmurs of awe and exclamations that erupted from the pack. I saw it, the unmistakable recognition, the profound connection in Xander's eyes as they fixed on Rhea. I saw the shock, then the dawning wonder, the radiant joy on Rhea's face as she felt the powerful bond, a bond I knew, with a certainty that clawed at my soul, was meant for me. Rhea, her eyes wide with disbelief and burgeoning joy, took a tentative, hesitant step forward, as if pulled by an invisible string. Xander, his gaze never leaving Rhea, moved towards her, his powerful frame drawn by an undeniable, primal force. The pack erupted in hushed whispers of awe, then a wave of boisterous congratulations, a joyous celebration that felt like a mockery of my shattered reality. I stood frozen, a statue of agony, a ghost in the midst of their triumph. The pain was excruciating, a deeper, more profound wound than any physical injury could ever inflict. I felt the hollow ache where my bond should have been, the gaping, desolate void where my future, my destiny, had just been ripped away, savagely stolen from me. It was meant to be me. I knew it. Someone had interfered. This was wrong. Terribly, profoundly wrong. My sister, my beloved twin, was now accepting a destiny that had been hijacked, a life that was meant to be mine. The Luna's sacred will had been corrupted, twisted by unseen forces, and I, heartbroken but resolute, knew I had to uncover the truth, to unmask the deception, no matter the personal cost. No matter the terrifying implications for my sister, for Xander, for our entire pack. The fight for my stolen destiny had just begun. The celebration that erupted after the mating ceremony was a deafening symphony of joyous shouts, boisterous laughter, and the lingering scent of triumph, spiced with the sweet aroma of roasted meats and celebratory ale. For me, Lyra, it was a suffocating, nightmarish cacophony. Every cheerful face, every warm embrace directed at Rhea, 1,000 tiny daggers plunging into my already shattered heart. I moved through the throng of jubilant wolves like a ghost, my senses dulled by the agonizing, gaping void where my bond should have been, my very spirit screaming in silent protest at the monumental injustice that had just unfolded. Rhea, her face illuminated by an almost ethereal joy, was swept up in a whirlwind of heartfelt well-wishes and congratulatory embraces. Her hand, intertwined with Xander's, seemed to shimmer with the raw energy of their newly snapped bond, a visible testament to their undeniable connection. Xander, his formidable alpha aura radiating an overwhelming sense of contentment and primal satisfaction, looked at Rhea with an undeniable tenderness, a proprietary gleam in his dark, intense eyes. I watched them, my beloved sister and the powerful man who was, by all rights, meant to be my mate, feeling a chilling sense of displacement and profound alienation in the very pack I had always called home, the place where I had always felt so deeply rooted. My parents, their faces beaming with unreserved pride for Rhea, approached me, their eyes filled with a gentle, if slightly misguided, sympathy. "It's all right, Lyra," my mother murmured, her voice soft, stroking my hair with a comforting hand. "The Luna has a plan for everyone. Your bond will come, my sweet girl." My father offered a gruff but loving pat on my shoulder, his gaze concerned, but their words, meant to soothe my undoubtedly visible distress, felt hollow, a painful reminder of what I had so irrevocably lost. They hadn't felt what I felt, the violent severance, the undeniable magnetic pull that had been exclusively mine, only to be redirected, stolen by an unseen, malicious force. How could I explain the inexplicable? How could I convey the agonizing certainty that my destiny had been hijacked? I mumbled a quick excuse, something about needing fresh air, needing to escape the suffocating weight of the false joy that permeated the pack house. I slipped away from the celebratory throng, my steps driven by a desperate primal need for solitude, for the quiet, unjudging embrace of the ancient forest. The familiar scent of pine and damp earth, usually a profound comfort that grounded my spirit, now felt alien, tainted by my profound sorrow, by the betrayal that hung heavy in the air. I ran, my human form dissolving effortlessly into the familiar, powerful silver gray of my wolf, my paws pounding a furious, desperate rhythm against the soft, yielding forest floor. I ran until my lungs burned with the effort, until the sheer physical exertion numbed the raw, aching knot in my chest. I ran until I found a secluded, forgotten clearing, bathed in the pale, indifferent moonlight, where I finally collapsed, my wolf whimpering, a sound of profound grief, confusion, and simmering rage. The Luna hung high above, a silent, impassive witness to my agonizing pain, her gentle light mocking my shattered dreams. I threw back my head and howled, a guttural cry of anguish and protest that ripped from my very soul, a primal question directed at the benevolent deity who had, seemingly, forsaken me. Why, Luna? Why was it stolen? Why her, when it was meant to be me? Why did you allow this to happen? The answers didn't come, only the whispering silence of the forest, or so it felt in my grief-stricken state. But amidst the overwhelming sorrow, a spark of something fierce ignited within me. A burning certainty that this was not the Luna's true will, but the result of malicious interference. The bond, that undeniable pull, that searing recognition, had been mine. I had felt it. It had been hijacked, twisted, stolen. Someone interfered, I whispered to the empty clearing, my human form slowly returning, my voice raw and broken, yet filled with an unwavering conviction. Someone changed the Luna's path. Someone defied destiny. The thought, terrifying and audacious in its implications, solidified into an undeniable truth in my mind. This wasn't just heartbreak, it was a crime, a profound manipulation of destiny itself. An affront to the Luna and all that was sacred. I spent the next few days existing in a hazy, internal turmoil. I attended to my pack duties, my movements mechanical, my interactions brief and guarded, my true emotions hidden deep beneath a veil of feigned normalcy. I watched Rhea and Xander from a distance, the visible strength of their blossoming bond, the way their energies intertwined, a constant, agonizing torment that seemed to follow me everywhere. Rhea, always perceptive, noticed my withdrawal, her brow furrowed with genuine concern as she approached me one afternoon. "Lyra, are you all right?" Rhea asked, her voice soft, filled with genuine worry, her hazel eyes searching mine. "You've been so quiet, so distant. I know it's hard when your bond hasn't snapped yet, especially after Xander and I. But don't worry, yours will come. I wish I could share this with you, share my happiness, truly." She gestured vaguely between herself and Xander, a gesture that, despite her good intentions, pierced my heart with a fresh, sharp wave of pain. I forced a weak, unconvincing smile. "I'm fine, Rhea. Just a bit overwhelmed, you know? It's a lot to process, all the changes. The excitement." I couldn't tell Rhea. Not yet. How could I possibly tell my twin, my other half, that her newfound happiness, her fated mate, was a cruel lie, a stolen destiny, a monstrous deception? The thought was unthinkable, the potential consequences catastrophic for our sisterly bond, a bond I cherished more than anything, even my own pain. No, I had to investigate alone. I had to find undeniable proof, concrete evidence that would stand up to scrutiny. But where to start? The mating ceremony was a sacred, ancient ritual, steeped in powerful protective magic. How could it possibly be interfered with? What kind of dark power, what kind of forbidden charm could possibly divert the Luna's will, twist a fated bond? My mind, sharp and analytical even in my distress, began to search for anomalies, for anything that felt out of place during the ceremony. I replayed the event in my mind, frame by agonizing frame, trying to recall every minute detail. The blinding flash of energy, the powerful pull I had felt, then the violent, severing snap. My focus returned to the crucial moments leading up to the bond snapping. Xander had been at the very center of the clearing, surrounded by the revered pack elders, conducting the ancient, sacred chants. And then, there was something else. A flicker of movement at the extreme edge of my peripheral vision, a strange, almost imperceptible shimmer in the air near Rhea. Just moments, mere seconds, before the bond snapped. At the time, I had dismissed it as a trick of the flickering torchlight, or simply the overwhelming sensory input of the ceremony itself. But now, in the cold, harsh light of my desperate suspicion, it felt like a crucial detail, a vital clue. I remembered an old legend, whispered among the pack elders only in hushed tones, about ancient wards, powerful, forbidden charms capable of influencing destiny, of subtly manipulating the flow of spiritual energy. These were dark arts, forbidden magic, long thought to be lost to time, relegated to the realm of myth. Could someone have used such a charm? And if so, who possessed such forbidden knowledge? And why? What motive could be so great as to defy the Luna herself? My thoughts naturally, immediately turned to Anya, Xander's former betrothed. Anya, a strikingly beautiful and fiercely ambitious she-wolf from a powerful allied pack, had been informally promised to Xander by their fathers in an attempt to forge a strategic political alliance. But the Luna's will had ultimately superseded their arrangement, dissolving their engagement when Xander's bond didn't snap for Anya by a certain predetermined age. Anya had always harbored a bitter resentment towards the Luna's choice, openly declaring her enduring love for Xander and her unshakable desire to be his alpha Luna, to stand by his side as the most powerful female in the pack. Her ambition was palpable, her desire for power almost as strong as Xander's own, a simmering undercurrent beneath her polished exterior. Could she have been desperate enough, audacious enough, to tamper with fate itself, to commit such a monstrous crime? I knew I had to proceed with extreme caution. Accusations of tampering with a fated bond were unheard of, blasphemous, and would surely be met with immediate disbelief, outrage, and potentially severe repercussions for me. I had to gather undeniable, irrefutable evidence. My journey into the shadows, into the forbidden secrets of our pack, had just begun. The truth, however painful it might be, however devastating its impact, had to be uncovered, for my own sake, for Rhea's ultimate well-being, and for the very integrity of the Luna's sacred will. The life that was meant for me hung precariously in the balance, and I, heartbroken but resolute, was ready to fight for it with every fiber of my being. My investigation began subtly, almost imperceptibly, cloaked beneath my usual quiet demeanor, blending seamlessly into the background of daily pack life. I spent more time than usual in the pack archives, ostensibly researching ancient healing remedies for minor ailments or delving deeper into obscure pack histories. But my true, clandestine focus was on forbidden lore, dusty, brittle texts detailing the nature of wards, the creation of charms, and particularly any ancient mentions of spiritual energy manipulation, or the interference with fated bonds. The crumbling tomes, filled with intricate, swirling symbols and faded, barely legible script, provided tantalizing fragments of information. Enough, at least, to chillingly confirm my terrifying suspicions. Ancient forbidden magic existed, powerful enough, according to these texts, to twist destiny, to manipulate the very fabric of spiritual connection. Its use, however, was explicitly considered an abomination, a direct, unforgivable defiance of the Luna's sacred will. I also started paying closer, almost obsessive, attention to Anya. Anya, with her striking obsidian hair that shimmered like polished raven feathers and her sharp, intelligent eyes that missed nothing, was usually the epitome of composure, often radiating an almost regal confidence. But as I observed her with my heightened awareness, I began to notice subtle, telling shifts in her behavior. A nervous twitch of her perfectly manicured fingers whenever Xander and Rhea were near, their intertwined energies a constant visible reminder of her thwarted ambition. A fleeting, almost imperceptible look of triumph in her eyes when she thought no one was watching, quickly masked by a feigned, sympathetic smile for the happy couple. Anya always made sure to be present, a silent, watchful shadow. Whenever Xander and Rhea were together, her presence a jarring presence to me. I noticed, too, a particular ring Anya wore, an ornate silver band with a dark polished stone, which she seemed to unconsciously touch, almost, quote, caress, whenever she looked at Rhea and Xander. It was a small detail, seemingly insignificant to an outsider, but my instincts, sharpened by years of subtle observation and now fueled by a desperate need for answers, told me it was profoundly significant. My greatest challenge, I knew, was to find concrete, undeniable proof without arousing suspicion. Especially from Xander. His alpha senses were incredibly acute, honed by years of leadership and inherent power. Any direct investigation into the bond itself, or any overt attempt to question its validity, would instantly register as a threat to his mate, to Rhea, and he would undoubtedly react with fierce protectiveness. I had to be a ghost, moving unseen, unheard, a shadow within the shadows of our own pack. My first target, the most logical place to begin, was the clearing where the mating ceremony had taken place. Sacred and, since the ceremony, largely untouched by the pack, it was the most likely place to find residual magic, any lingering traces of interference. Under the impenetrable cloak of a moonless night, when even the stars seemed to hide their light, I shifted into my wolf form, my silver-gray fur blending seamlessly with the deep shadows cast by the ancient trees. My senses were heightened to an almost agonizing degree. My nose sampled the cold night air for any unnatural sense. My ears strained for the faintest, most aberrant sounds. I moved silently through the clearing, my paws treading lightly on the hallowed ground, reverently avoiding the scattered remains of the ceremonial torches. The air still hummed with the faint, almost ghostly echo of Xander's immense bond energy, a lingering trace of the immense power that had erupted that night. I sniffed, my sensitive nose searching for anything out of place, anything that didn't belong to the natural order of the forest. There it was, a faint, almost imperceptible scent beneath the familiar, earthy aroma of soil and decaying leaves. A metallic, almost burnt sugar smell. A sickly sweet tang that made my fur bristle. It was a scent I vaguely recognized from the ancient texts I had studied, described as a byproduct of dark wards, a telltale sign of forbidden magic. My eyes scanned the exact spot on the ground where Rhea had stood during the ceremony. The earth looked undisturbed, the soft moss perfectly in place, but then I noticed it, a tiny, almost invisible indentation, barely visible even to my keen wolf eyes, as if something small and heavy had been precisely pressed into the soil. I sniffed again, the burnt sugar scent stronger here, almost cloying. I dug carefully with my paw, displacing the earth with deliberate, gentle movements, until I unearthed a small, polished stone. It was dark, smooth, and chillingly cold to the touch, radiating a faint, unnatural hum. It was almost identical in shape and texture to the dark stone set in Anya's ring. This wasn't a natural stone. This was a charm, a dog charm. And it confirmed my worst fears, solidifying the terrifying truth of my suspicions. Now, I needed to connect the charm directly to Anya. But how? I couldn't simply present this single piece of evidence to Xander or the Council. Accusations of such magnitude against someone as prominent as Xander's former betrothed required undeniable, irrefutable proof. A chain of evidence that would leave no room for doubt. I needed to observe Anya more closely, to catch her in the act of using dark magic, or to find something concrete, something that directly implicated her. I began to follow Anya, subtly, meticulously, my wolf form blending perfectly into the dense foliage of the forest, my movements silent and unseen, a whisper in the wind. I observed her daily routine, her meetings with other pack members, her seemingly innocuous solitary walks. Anya seemed to gravitate towards secluded, rarely visited areas of the forest, and I often noticed her carrying a small, intricately embroidered leather pouch, which she clutched almost protectively. I suspected, with a growing certainty, that the pouch contained other charms, other instruments of dark magic. One crisp autumn afternoon, my patience was rewarded. I watched Anya enter a small, abandoned hunting cabin nestled deep in a rarely visited part of the forest, a place known for its unstable structure and dense undergrowth. This was highly unusual. The cabin was considered dangerous, avoided even by the most seasoned hunters. I settled into a hidden vantage point, waiting patiently, my senses acutely alert, my wolf instincts humming with anticipation. After an hour, Anya emerged, her face pale and drawn. A strange look of triumph mixed with profound exhaustion etched on her features. She clutched the leather pouch tightly. I waited, holding my breath, until Anya was well out of sight, her scent fading into the distance before cautiously approaching the dilapidated cabin. The air inside the cabin was thick, cloying, with a sickly sweet scent, far stronger and more pungent than the faint trace I had detected in the clearing. It made my fur bristle, an unmistakable primal warning of powerful dark magic lingering in the enclosed space. The cabin was in disarray, overturned wooden furniture, scattered papers, as if a struggle had taken place, or a ritual performed with frenzied intensity. But my eyes were immediately drawn to a small, hidden compartment beneath a loose floorboard, partially exposed. Inside, carefully arranged, I found a chilling collection of dark, polished stones, identical to the one I had found in the clearing, along with various vials of strange, dark liquids that shimmered with an unnatural light, and, most damning of all, a small, leather-bound journal. My heart pounded a frantic rhythm against my ribs as I opened the journal, my fingers trembling slightly. The pages were filled with intricate, disturbing diagrams, ancient, forbidden chants, and chillingly precise notations. It was a spell book, a meticulously kept record of dark magic. My eyes frantically scanned the entries, searching for anything related to the mating ceremony, to Xander, to Rhea, and then I found it. An entry, meticulously dated just days before the mating ceremony. Phase 2 of the redirection charm. The target's energy is now tethered to the proxy. The Alpha's bond will now be drawn to her instead of the true fated. A small sacrifice of spirit, but a worthy price for destiny. Soon, Xander will be mine. The proxy was Rhea. The true fated was me. It was all there, in Anya's own chilling, undeniable words, her motives laid bare in her own hand. The irrefutable, damning proof. A cold, incandescent rage, unlike anything I had ever felt, surged through me, burning away the last vestiges of my heartbreak. It wasn't just about my personal pain anymore. It was a profound violation, a desecration of the Luna's sacred will, a monstrous manipulation of my sister's happiness, and an audacious, arrogant act of hubris by Kurz. Anya. I carefully placed everything back exactly as I had found it, meticulously ensuring the cabin showed no signs of my intrusion. I left the cabin, the heavy, chilling weight of the absolute truth settling deep in my soul, a cold, hard stone of conviction. I now had the proof, the irrefutable, undeniable evidence I needed. But how to reveal it? This wasn't something to be whispered discreetly. This was a declaration, a shatter in truth that would rock the entire pack to its very core, destroy Rhea's newfound happiness, and potentially ignite a dangerous, volatile conflict with Anya and her powerful, influential family. I had to present the evidence to Xander, to the Alpha Council, in a way that was irrefutable, undeniable, leaving no room for doubt or denial. It had to be done carefully, strategically, with surgical precision, to ensure justice was swiftly served, and that Anya faced the full, unforgiven wrath of the Luna's judgment and pack law. My life, my sister's life, and the very integrity of our pack depended on my next, crucial move. The fight for my destiny, for the truth, was about to truly begin, and I would not falter. The reverberations of Anya's confession shattered the fragile peace of the council chambers, echoing far beyond its ancient walls and plunging the Moonwood Pack into a period of profound upheaval. Xander's alpha fury, though momentarily spent, left a chilling residue in the air, a testament to the depth of his personal betrayal and the violation of sacred pack laws. The truth, raw and brutal in its unveiling, resonated through every pack member, shaking the very foundations of their inherent belief in the Luna's infallible will. Rumors, hushed whispers, and raw, unrestrained emotional turmoil rippled through the community, threatening to splinter their unity. The sacredness of the fated bond had been violated in the most heinous way, and the implications were staggering, almost unimaginable. For Xander the Alpha, the revelation was a deeply personal catastrophe, a wound that went beyond mere anger or disappointment. He had meticulously built his life around his pack, his unwavering duty, and an unshakable belief in destiny, in the divine order of the Luna's chosen paths. To discover that his mate, his fundamental connection, the very essence of his future, had been stolen, subtly manipulated by such cruel deception, was a blow that shook him to his very core. He felt a profound sense of shame, of having been blind to the machinations of someone he had once trusted, of having failed to protect himself, and more importantly, his true mate, Lyra, from such a heinous, insidious act. He immediately withdrew into himself, spending long hours in his private study, wrestling with the monumental magnitude of the deception, the heartbreaking agony that Rhea was now enduring, and the terrifying, uncertain prospect of claiming a bond that had been so cruelly tainted by lies and dark magic. Rhea, however, bore the immediate, most agonizing burden of pain. The severing of her false bond with Xander was not just a metaphorical pain, it was a profound, physical agony that left a gaping, weeping wound in her soul where radiant joy had once blossomed. She felt utterly betrayed, not by Xander, and surprisingly, not even by me, her twin, but by fate itself, by the cruel, malicious manipulation that had offered her a beautiful, perfect dream only to snatch it away with such brutal finality. Her once vivacious spirit was visibly dimmed, replaced by a quiet, pervasive sorrow that seemed to echo through the very walls of the pack house, a constant, mournful hum. I remained by her side, a constant, unwavering presence, a silent guardian against her pain, offering quiet comfort, holding her close as she wept uncontrollably, listening patiently as Rhea slowly, painstakingly processed the monumental deception that had stolen her happiness. Our sisterly bond, though severely tested by circumstance and profound heartache, proved to be an unbreakable lifeline, a silent promise of enduring love. "It felt so real, Lyra," Rhea would whisper, her voice raw with unspent tears, clinging to me as if I were her only anchor in a storm. Every touch, every glance, every shared breath, it felt like undeniable destiny. How could something so powerful, so absolute, be a lie? How could I have been so wrong? "It wasn't a lie for you, Rhea," I would gently explain, holding her close, stroking her tangled hair. "You felt what you were meant to feel. Your emotions, your heart, they were pure. The lie was Anya's. She tricked the bond. She manipulated its flow, but she could never, truly, trick your heart or mine. She corrupted the path, not the destination." I knew her heart needed to believe that, to understand that her feelings were not, in themselves, a falsehood. My own emotions during this period were a complex, almost dizzying tapestry of profound vindication, deep sorrow for Rhea's pain, and a hesitant, fragile hope for my own future. I had found the truth. I had, against all odds, reclaimed my destiny, but at what cost to my beloved sister's happiness? The thought of stepping into a bond that had caused so much visible pain, even if it was undeniably and rightfully mine, was daunting, almost overwhelming. I loved Xander, had felt the undeniable pull towards him for years, but the path to truly claiming our fated connection was now fraught with emotional landmines, with the echoes of betrayal and shattered dreams. The Alpha Council, after much solemn deliberation and extensive consultation with Elder Thorn, formally declared Xander's bond to me, Lyra, as the true, legitimate fated connection, entirely undeniable by Anya's dark, corrupting magic. They meticulously explained that while magic, even powerful dark magic, could influence the path of the bond's manifestation, it could not truly change the fundamental source of the soul connection. The true intent of the ball. Luna. The Luna's will, they affirmed, was ultimately pure, inviolable, and the bond, though cruelly diverted, was now free to settle where it was truly meant to be, its true power now fully accessible. Xander, after days of agonizing, solitary introspection, finally approached me. He found me in the Pack library, poring over ancient texts, seeking solace and understanding in the written wisdom of our ancestors. He looked haggard, his dark eyes heavy with profound remorse and unspoken burdens. "Lyra," he said, his voice deep, strained with emotion, yet resonating with an undercurrent of his innate alpha power. "The Council has confirmed it. You are my true mate, my fated bond, chosen by the Luna." He took a hesitant, almost tentative step closer, his eyes searching mine for a flicker of understanding, of acceptance. I need to apologize, not just for being blind to Anya's insidious deception, for failing to detect her dark intentions, but for the immense pain it has caused you, and Rhea, and my entire pack. He ran a hand through his dark hair, the gesture of profound weariness and barely contained frustration with himself. "I don't expect you to forgive me immediately. I don't expect you to simply accept this bond after such a monumental deception. After it caused so much suffering. It feels tainted, broken, almost." I looked up from my book, my silver-gray eyes meeting his, steady and unwavering, imbued with a quiet resolve. "It's not broken, Xander," I corrected him gently, my voice soft but firm. "It was diverted. It was manipulated, corrupted by dark magic. But the true connection, the Luna's undeniable will, was always there. I felt it. From the beginning, I felt it." I paused, a small, sad smile touching my lips, acknowledging the shared burden. "And I forgive you. You were as much a victim as Rhea. Anya deceived us all, twisted our perceptions, darkened our paths." His eyes, filled with a complex mixture of immense relief and profound disbelief, widened slightly. "But Rhea," he began, his voice thick with unspent concern, a shadow of pain crossing his features. "Her heartbreak. Rhea needs time." I acknowledged, my gaze softening as I thought of my twin. "She's hurting, deeply. We all are, in different ways. But she knows it wasn't your fault, Xander. And she knows, deep down, that a bond built on such a monstrous lie, however powerful it felt, could never truly bring her lasting, genuine happiness." I took a deep, fortifying breath. "The bond between us, Xander, is true. It is real. But we can't ignore the circumstances that brought us here." We need to heal. All of us, the pack included. Xander nodded slowly, a profound sense of relief washing over him, quickly replaced by a renewed, almost fierce determination. Then we will heal, Lyra, he vowed, his voice firm, resonating with the full, quiet authority of his alpha command. Together, we will take the time, however long it takes. We will rebuild. We will make amends. And we will ensure that nothing like this, no deception, no dark magic, ever threatens our pack or our destinies again. I swear it on my alpha blood. He extended his hand, not as an alpha commanding obedience, but as a man seeking solace, seeking profound connection, seeking a partner in a shared arduous journey. I hesitated for only a moment, then placed my hand, small but resolute, in his larger, warm one. His touch was warm, comforting, and surprisingly gentle. For the very first time since the devastating, heart-wrenching mating ceremony, the hollow, aching void in my chest began to recede, replaced by a tentative warmth, a soft, fluttering sense of hope. The true bond, though wounded and tested, was stirring, slowly, painstakingly, beginning to weave itself back together, piece by precious piece. Our journey of healing began not with grand gestures, but with open communication, with quiet, intimate conversations under the silent stars, with long, deliberate walks through the ancient forest where Xander listened intently as I recounted my years of intuitive knowing, my silent hopes and quiet dreams for our bond, for our shared future. He, in turn, shared his fears, his burdensome responsibilities as Alpha, his renewed commitment to protecting his pack from any future deceptions. Rhea, though still immersed in her pain, slowly began to find solace in the profound truth, in the unwavering support of her twin sister, and in the clear acknowledgement that she had been an innocent victim, not a perpetrator. She began to focus on rebuilding her own life, on discovering new passions, new purposes within the pack, beyond the shattered dream of being Alpha Luna. She began spending more time with Rhys, a quiet but strong beta from an allied pack, finding comfort in his steady presence. The path to fully claiming our fated bond was not easy for Xander and me. It was marked by quiet introspection, by patient understanding, by a deep mutual respect for the lingering wounds we both carried. But with each shared moment, each honest, vulnerable conversation, the true bond between us strengthened, slowly solidifying into a profound, undeniable connection that transcended the pain of its origin. The Luna's will, though momentarily diverted by a malicious hand, was ultimately undeniable, and the true mate, the one destined to stand by the Alpha's side, was finally, irrevocably, taking her rightful place. With the Luna's blessing unequivocally reaffirming their true bond, Lyra and Xander embarked on a path of leadership that was as much about profound healing and unwavering transparency as it was about the traditional pillars of strength and protection. The pack, having intimately witnessed the raw, devastating unveiling of Anya's insidious deception and the subsequent, arduous journey of reconciliation, rallied around their Alpha and his truly fated Luna with a renewed, almost fierce loyalty. The period of profound turmoil, though painful, had, paradoxically, strengthened their collective resolve, fostering a deeper, more reverent appreciation for the sacredness of their traditions and the paramount importance of truth within their community. Lyra, shedding the last vestiges of her former quietude, embraced her demanding role as Alpha Luna with a grace and a wisdom that surprised many, including, at times, herself. Her quiet strength, once a deeply personal trait, now radiated outwards, a comforting and guiding presence for every member of the pack. She focused her considerable energies on community welfare, on fostering open, honest communication among all members, and on diligently ensuring that no pack wolf ever felt unheard, unseen, or undervalued. She worked closely with Elder Thorn, spending countless hours delving deeper into ancient pack lore, studying the intricacies of spiritual healing, and mastering the delicate balance of power and responsibility within their complex society. Her innate connection to the ancient forest, her intuitive understanding of its powerful rhythms and subtle energies, proved to be an invaluable asset, guiding their spiritual practices and meticulously maintaining the pack's harmonious, respectful relationship with their natural environment. Xander, now finally free from the subtle yet pervasive emotional burden of Anya's malicious manipulation, blossomed into an even more effective and compassionate leader. He remained formidable, his alpha aura commanding immediate respect and unwavering obedience. But it was now profoundly tempered by a newfound empathy, a genuine willingness to listen intently to the voices of his pack, and a profound humility born from his own painful vulnerability. He relied heavily on Lyra's discerning counsel, trusting her instincts implicitly, valuing her unique perspective that often offered a different, more nuanced, and ultimately more effective approach to complex pack issues. Their partnership was seamless, a powerful synergy of innate strength and deep wisdom, of decisive leadership and profound compassion, a reflection of their perfectly aligned souls. Rhea, while still carrying the tender scars of her past heartbreak, gradually, courageously, found her own footing. The false bond had indeed left a deep, aching void, a wound that seemed impossible to heal. But, with Lyra's unwavering, steadfast support and her own determined, resilient spirit, she slowly began to fill that emptiness with new, fulfilling purpose. Her innate healing abilities, previously underdeveloped, blossomed under Elder Thorn's tutelage, and she rapidly became an indispensable, highly revered part of the pack's healing circle. Her gentle touch and profound compassion became a balm to the wounded, both physically and emotionally. Her burgeoning connection with Rhys, the quiet but immensely strong beta from the allied pack, deepened into a gentle, enduring love. He was patient, endlessly understanding, and offered her a safe, comforting haven where she could truly heal, truly be herself, without judgment or expectations. Their bond, built on shared experiences and quiet, steadfast devotion, was a beautiful testament to the idea that destiny could indeed find different, equally beautiful paths to true happiness. I watched my sister's burgeoning happiness with a profound sense of relief and quiet joy, knowing that Rhea, too, had finally found her true path, her own unique fulfillment. Anya, exiled from the Moonwood Pack, became more than just a distant memory. She transformed into a chilling cautionary tale, whispered around campfires, a stark, ever-present reminder of the destructive dangers of unchecked ambition and the dire consequences of defying the Luna's sacred will. Her bitter, lonely fate served as a powerful deterrent to anyone who might consider dabbling in forbidden magic or attempting to manipulate the sacred order of things. News occasionally trickled in from other distant packs about a lone, haunted she-wolf, forever wandering, forever seeking a solace and belonging she would never find. Lyra and Xander's bond deepened immeasurably with each passing season, each shared challenge, each quiet moment of understanding. Their love was a constant, unwavering source of strength, a brilliant beacon that guided their every decision, both as powerful leaders and as deeply connected individuals. They learned, painstakingly, to navigate the complexities of their unique origin story, transforming what had begun as a profound betrayal into a powerful testament to their collective resilience, their unwavering trust, and their unbreakable love. The memory of the stolen bond, though never entirely forgotten, remained as a poignant reminder of their arduous journey, a testament to what they had overcome, but it no longer held any power over them. It was a scar, a testament to their survival, but never again a wound that festered. One clear, star-filled night, with the autumn chill just beginning to settle in, Lyra and Xander stood together on the highest, most ancient ridge overlooking the vast expanse of the Moonwood Pack territory. The myriad lights of the pack house twinkled far below them like scattered jewels, a warm, inviting glow. The air was crisp, carrying the familiar, comforting scent of pine and the distant, hauntingly beautiful howl of a lone wolf, a sound of profound belonging and wild freedom. "Sometimes," Lyra mused aloud, leaning her head against Xander's broad, powerful shoulder, feeling the solid comfort of his presence, "I still think about that day, about the ceremony, about how incredibly different everything could have been, how close we came to a truly tragic mistake." Xander wrapped his arm tighter around her, pulling her even closer into his embrace, his warmth seeping into her. "It was a cruel twist of fate, my Luna," he acknowledged, his voice deep, resonating with a quiet understanding that only she could truly appreciate. "But it led us here, to this, to each other, to a bond that was tested in the harshest fire and proved itself true, undeniably and eternally." He leaned down, placing a tender kiss on the top of her head. "I wouldn't trade the hard-won clarity, the profound understanding, the unwavering trust we share now, for a moment of an easier, unexamined path. Our love, our bond, is infinitely stronger precisely because of what we faced, because we chose to fight for it, for each other." Lyra looked up at him, her silver-gray eyes shimmering with unshed tears of profound gratitude and overwhelming love. "You truly believe that, Xander, even after everything?" "I do, with every fiber of my being," Xander affirmed, his gaze sweeping over their peaceful territory, then settling on her face, his eyes filled with an unwavering, eternal devotion. "Because you, Lyra, you were always meant to be my Alpha Luna. The Luna's will, though it can be challenged, cannot ultimately be denied. And I am forever grateful, beyond words, that you fought for the truth, that you reclaimed what was rightfully ours, that you brought us back to our true destiny." She smiled, a radiant, unburdened smile that illuminated the quiet night, a reflection of the peace that had finally settled in her heart. "And I am forever grateful that you were willing to see it, Xander, to trust it, to let me in, to allow me to heal alongside you." Their bond, once grievously threatened by insidious deception and shattered by betrayal, now resonated with an undeniable, ancient power, a profound love that transcended even destiny itself. Lyra, the quiet twin, had not only uncovered a monstrous truth, but had found her true strength, her rightful place, and a love that was destined to lead their pack into a new era of unprecedented prosperity, unwavering transparency, and an unshakable, enduring faith in the Luna's true, unyielding will. The life that was stolen had been reclaimed, and it was more beautiful, more profound, and more utterly perfectly destined than she had ever dared to dream possible. The passing of seasons brought with it a deeper settling into their roles for Lyra and Xander. The initial turbulence of Anya's revelation, though a significant scar on the pack's history, began to fade into a powerful, cautionary tale, whispered with reverence for the Luna's true will rather than fear of dark magic. The pack had emerged stronger, their bonds reinforced by the shared adversity, their faith in their leadership solidified. Lyra, as Alpha Luna, found her voice, not in booming pronouncements, but in quiet, insightful wisdom that resonated deeply with the pack members. Her presence was a comforting anchor, a stark contrast to the flamboyant, often unpredictable nature of past Luna figures. Her days were now a meticulous tapestry woven from duties that ranged from mediating minor disputes to orchestrating the pack's quarterly hunts. She established a system of rotating patrols for the younger, eager wolves, ensuring they learned the lay of the land and the subtle shifts in the forest's mood. Lyra immersed herself in the pack's ancient healing practices, working alongside Elder Thorn, whose Yold knowledge found a keen, intuitive apprentice in her. She learned to mix poultices from rare herbs, to set bones with a practiced, gentle hand, and to soothe wounded spirits with a profound empathy that was uniquely hers. The pack infirmary, once a sterile, clinical space, transformed under her touch into a vibrant hub of communal care, filled with the aroma of chamomile and lavender. Xander, observing Lyra's blossoming leadership, felt an immense pride swell within him. He often found himself watching her from a distance, captivated by her calm resolve, the natural authority she exuded without ever resorting to aggression. He saw how pack members, even the most stubborn elders, would seek out her counsel, her quiet words often carrying more weight than any direct command. Their shared evenings were no longer just about discussing pack business. They became moments of profound connection, of intellectual sparring and emotional vulnerability. They would sit by the roaring fire in Xander's study, surrounded by ancient maps and scrolls, their voices hushed as they delved into complex strategies for trade with neighboring packs, or debated the subtle intricacies, pack law. Your ideas on resource management have already brought a 30% increase in our stored provisions for winter, Lyra, Xander remarked one evening, sketching notes on a parchment with a charcoal stick. And your system for identifying potential territorial incursions from rogue wolves has been flawless. We've averted 3 skirmishes this past month alone. His eyes, dark and intense, held a genuine admiration that warmed Lyra to her core. It is not just my ideas, Xander, Lyra replied, leaning back in her chair, a slight smile playing on her lips. It is the pack's willingness to adapt, to trust our guidance. And it is your strength as Alpha that gives them the security to do so. A leader is only as strong as the wolves who follow him. She met his gaze, a profound understanding passing between them. Our partnership, our bond, makes us both stronger. Their physical connection, too, deepened with an intimacy born of profound trust and shared purpose. There were no more hesitant touches, no more lingering doubts. Their bodies recognized each other as extensions of their souls, movements fluid and intuitive, their senses heightened to the subtle language of their bond. Xander's touch, once tentative, became possessive, worshipful, recognizing the long-denied truth that had finally returned to him. Lyra reveled in his strength, in the warmth of his embrace, in the undeniable sense of belonging that settled deep within her bones every time he held her. Their shared nights were a sanctuary of passion and profound peace, a testament to the Luna's true design. Rhea, meanwhile, found her healing journey diverging onto a truly unique path. The initial devastation had, surprisingly, unlocked a deeper understanding of her own innate gifts. While her healing touch for physical wounds remained potent, she discovered a remarkable aptitude for emotional and spiritual guidance. Pack members, struggling with their own personal sorrows or conflicts, often sought her out, drawn by her gentle demeanor and her profound capacity for empathy. She had walked through the valley of deep personal pain and emerged with a wisdom that transcended her years, a compassionate understanding that allowed her to truly connect with others on a soul level. Her relationship with Rhys, the beta from the neighboring Riverbend pack, blossomed into a love story that was quiet, steadfast, and deeply rooted in mutual respect. Rhys, with his calm strength and unwavering patience, provided the perfect foil to Rhea's still-recovering spirit. He understood her need for space, her moments of quiet introspection, and never pushed her to forget her past pain, but rather helped her integrate it into her present, making her stronger. Their bond, while not a fated mate bond in the traditional sense, was undeniably strong, chosen by conscious decision and profound affection. They spent hours communicating across pack borders, visiting each other often, their laughter echoing through the forests as they explored the natural wonders of both territories. "He understands, Lyra," Rhea confided one afternoon, her eyes shining with a serene happiness Lyra hadn't seen in her for months. They were sitting by the stream, dipping their feet in the cool, clear water. "He doesn't try to fix me. He just is. He sees me for all that I am and all that I've been through." Lyra smiled, a genuine, heartfelt smile. "He sounds like a good wolf, Rhea, and you deserve nothing less." She squeezed her sister's hand. "The Luna has a plan for everyone, just like Mom always said. Sometimes it's just not the path we expected." The stability within the Moonwood Pack grew, a direct reflection of Xander and Lyra's harmonious partnership. Their combined leadership fostered an environment of trust and mutual respect, eradicating the lingering shadows of deceit. They established new protocols for evaluating potential mates from outside the pack, ensuring that all bonds were genuine and untainted, with stringent background checks and ceremonial affirmations that emphasized honesty and integrity. They collaborated with other packs, forging new alliances built on truth and transparency, creating a network of mutual support and shared knowledge, strengthening the entire region against threats, both internal and external. One day, during a joint patrol of their shared border with the Riverbend pack, Xander, Lyra, Rhea, and Rhys found themselves gathered around a crackling campfire as dusk settled, the sky ablaze with hues of orange, purple. The scent of roasting rabbit filled the air, mingling with the fresh pine. The conversation flowed easily, a testament to the deepening bonds between the two packs. "It still amazes me," Rhys remarked, stirring the embers with a stick, "how deeply a single act of malice can wound, and how much stronger the community becomes when it faces that wound head-on, together." His gaze flickered to Lyra, then to Xander, then finally rested warmly on Rhea. Rhea nodded, her expression thoughtful. "It's true. For a long time, I felt broken, like my entire sense of self was built on a foundation of lies. But Lyra, and all of you, helped me see that my feelings were real, even if the circumstances were not. That my worth wasn't tied to a manipulated bond." She reached out, taking Rhys's hand, a quiet, profound affection passing between them. "And that genuine connection can be found in unexpected places, built on something even stronger than fated bonds, on choice, on shared values, on true understanding." Lyra felt a surge of pride for her sister, for the profound resilience she had shown. She looked at Xander, his profile strong and resolute against the flickering firelight, and then back at Rhea, seeing the radiant happiness in her eyes. The journey had been arduous, painful, and at times terrifying, but they had faced it. They had survived it. And they had emerged, not just whole, but undeniably stronger, their individual destinies interwoven into a greater tapestry of purpose and love. The Luna's true design, always complex and sometimes inscrutable, had ultimately prevailed, guiding them all to their rightful paths, a testament to the enduring power of truth and the unwavering strength of the fated bond. The pack was thriving, their leaders united not just by destiny, but by a hard-won, profound understanding of the depths of love and betrayal. Their story would be told for generations, a legend of a stolen bond and the courage it took to reclaim it. Years folded into decades, and the Moonwood Pack flourished under the unwavering, harmonious leadership of Alpha Xander and Lyra. Their union, born from the crucible of deception and reclaimed destiny, became the bedrock of a society that prized honesty, resilience, and compassion above all else. Their story, once a hushed, painful secret, transformed into a revered legend, recounted around crackling campfires, sung in ancient chants during full moon gatherings, and woven into the intricate tapestries of Kral Pack history. It was a tale of how the Luna's will, though momentarily shadowed by malice, could never truly be extinguished, and how true love, when fought for with courage and integrity, would always find its rightful path. Lyra, now a seasoned Luna, her silver-gray eyes holding the deep wisdom of years, became a revered matriarch figure. Her quiet strength had deepened into an almost palpable aura of serene authority. She presided over the pack's spiritual ceremonies, her connection to the Luna's energy growing stronger with each passing season. The sacred clearing, once the site of such profound betrayal, was now a place of unparalleled peace and vibrant spiritual energy, thanks to the meticulous cleansing rituals Lyra had overseen for years. She introduced new traditions, blending ancient rites with practices that fostered a sense of individual worth and communal responsibility, ensuring that no one felt lost or unvalued within the pack. Her healing abilities, honed by experience and intuition, were legendary. She could mend not just physical wounds, but the deepest scars of the soul, guiding wolves through grief, fear, and personal turmoil with gentle claw. Unwavering patience. Xander, his dark hair now streaked with distinguished silver at the temples, remained a powerful and revered alpha. His presence still commanded respect, but it was now softened by an even deeper well of compassion and profound understanding. He governed with a steady hand, his decisions always tempered by Lyra's insightful counsel. Their partnership was a finely tuned symphony, each knowing instinctively when to lead, when to support, when to challenge, and when to simply exist in comfortable, understanding silence. Their bond, undeniably, was the envy of all other packs, a living testament to an enduring, profound love. He often found himself reflecting on the early days, on the initial agony of the deception, and felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude for Lyra's unwavering spirit. She had saved him, in more ways than one, guiding him back to his true destiny and showing him a depth of love he had never imagined possible. "Do you ever think about what Anya is doing now?" Xander asked Lyra one quiet evening, as they sat on their shared balcony, overlooking the vast sleeping territory under the glow of a magnificent full moon. The question was rare, a fleeting shadow from a long-buried past. Lyra sighed, a soft, wistful sound. "Sometimes. I hope she has found some measure of peace, wherever she is. Though I doubt it. A heart twisted by such ambition rarely finds true solace." She turned to him, her eyes soft, understanding. But we cannot dwell on her darkness, Xander. Our light is too bright, our purpose too clear. Rhea, Lyra's twin, continued to thrive in her unique and indispensable role within the pack. She never sought the traditional Luna position, finding her true calling in the spiritual and emotional well-being of the pack members. Her empathy grew to encompass not just the Moonwood Pack, but to extend to the wider community of neighboring packs. She became a sought-after confidant, a mediator in interpack disputes, her gentle wisdom often diffusing tensions that threatened to erupt into conflict. Her bond with Rhea, the now alpha of the Riverbend Pack, deepened into a profound, undeniable connection, a testament to chosen love. They were each other's unwavering anchors, their love stories celebrated as a powerful example of a different kind of fated bond, one forged not by the immediate snap of a Luna's decree, but by deliberate choice, mutual respect, and profound affection. They had two strong, healthy children, a son and a daughter, who often visited the Moonwood Pack, their laughter echoing through the pack house, a joyous bridge between the two territories. Lyra and Xander had children of their own too, a powerful alpha son who bore Xander's intensity and Lyra's quiet wisdom, and a spirited daughter with Lyra's silver eyes and Xander's fierce protectiveness. Their children grew up steeped in the tale of their parents' bond, understanding the sacred importance of the Luna's will and the devastating consequences of defying it. They learned from an early age that true strength lay not just in power, but in integrity, in honesty, and in the profound, unbreakable bonds of family and pack. One crisp autumn morning, Lyra walked through the sacred clearing, now vibrant with new life, the air buzzing with the spiritual energy of generations of true bonds. A group of young, unmated wolves gathered, their faces alight with anticipation for the upcoming mating ceremony. She watched them, a gentle smile gracing her lips, remembering her own youthful hopes, the agonizing twist of fate, and the arduous path that had led her to her undeniable destiny. A young she-wolf approached her tentatively, her eyes wide with a mix of awe and nervous curiosity. "Luna Lyra," she began, her voice soft. "They say you're bonded. It was almost stolen. Is that true?" Lyra's smile remained, a testament to the peace she had found. "It is true, my dear," she replied, her voice calm, filled with the wisdom of a long and storied life. There was dark magic, wielded by a desperate heart. It tried to divert the Luna's will, to twist destiny. She paused, her gaze sweeping over the eager faces of the young wolves. But what it taught us, what it reinforced, is that true destiny, true love, cannot ultimately be denied. It may be challenged, it may face obstacles, but if it is pure, if it is true, it will always find its way home. It will always return to where it was meant to be. She placed a gentle hand on the young she-wolf's shoulder. Never lose faith in the Luna's plan, even when the path seems unclear, and always, always trust your own heart, for it is the truest compass to your fated destiny. As the young wolves murmured amongst themselves, their anxieties eased by her reassuring words, Lyra felt Xander's familiar presence behind her, his powerful hand settling on the small of her back. She leaned into his touch, a profound sense of completeness washing over her. Their story, once a tale of stolen dreams, had blossomed into a living legend of resilience, of truth, and of a love that was, undeniably, meant to be. The Moonwood Pack, guided by their enduring bond, continued to thrive, a shining example of the Luna's enduring grace. Their legacy was not just of power, but of profound healing, of an unwavering commitment to truth, and of a love that defied even the darkest magic, forever proving that some destinies, some bonds, are truly unbreakable. The Moonwood Pack, under Lyra and Xander's steadfast leadership, had indeed settled into a period of unprecedented harmony and quiet prosperity. The tale of Lyra's stolen bond, a wound that had once threatened to tear the pack asunder, had transmuted into a powerful legend, a testament to resilience and the unwavering will of the Luna. This story, whispered by elders to eager younglings during communal meals, etched into the pack's collective memory, served not as a reminder of betrayal, but as a guiding principle. Truth prevails, and true love, however circuitous its path, will always find its way. Lyra, now third of 5, moved through her days with a serene efficiency that belied the immense responsibility she carried as Alpha Luna. Her silver-gray eyes, once prone to a contemplative veil, now sparkled with a profound confidence, reflecting the deep wisdom cultivated over years of selfless service. She had woven herself so intricately into the fabric of the pack that it was difficult to imagine Moonwood without her guiding presence. Her initial quietude had transformed into an accessible calmness, making her approachable even to the shyest of Omegas seeking counsel. She had established the Luna Circle, a council of she-wolves from various age groups and backgrounds, to address the specific needs and concerns of the pack's female members. This initiative, born from her own experience of feeling isolated in her pain, fostered an environment of open dialogue and mutual support. Decisions regarding education for the pups, care for the elderly, or even the careful curation of new healing herbs were now collaborative efforts, ensuring every voice was heard, every perspective considered. Lyra would often spend entire afternoons in the pack's bustling communal kitchen, not merely supervising but actively participating, her hands kneading dough alongside younger wolves, her quiet stories of ancient traditions captivating their attention. She understood that true leadership was not just about making grand decrees, but about being present, a genuine part of the daily rhythm of her people. Xander, now 43, was a formidable alpha whose power was now perfectly balanced by a deep, introspective wisdom. The youthful intensity that had once marked him had matured into a quiet, almost regal authority. His dark eyes, still capable of burning with alpha command, more often held a warmth, a deep understanding forged in the crucible of his past. He and Lyra shared a language beyond words, a silent communication built on years of shared experiences and profound mutual respect. He knew her every sigh, her every subtle shift in mood, understanding the unspoken burdens she carried. Their decision-making process was a marvel to behold for visiting alphas. They would often retire to Xander's study, a room filled with the scent of aged parchment and a crackling fireplace, and emerge hours later with solutions that were invariably robust and fair. Lyra's intuitive grasp of emotional undercurrents, combined with Xander's strategic mind and tactical brilliance, formed an unstoppable force. He often found himself relying on her insights more than he had ever anticipated, particularly when dealing with complex interpack politics or the subtle nuances of rogue wolf territories. One late autumn evening, a tense delegation from the Stonefang pack arrived, their alpha, a gruff, imposing wolf named Kale, demanding immediate access to a disputed hunting ground. Tensions were high, the air thick with barely suppressed aggression. Lyra, observing from Xander's side, noticed Kale's hand twitching near the dagger at his belt and the subtle, almost imperceptible tremor in his lead beta's jaw. "Alpha Kale." Lyra's voice was calm, clear, cutting through the strained silence. We understand your concerns. Our scouts have reported a scarcity of game in your usual territories. But this hunting ground, while bountiful, has sustained our pack through many harsh winters. She paused, her gaze meeting his, devoid of challenge but filled with understanding. Perhaps the issue is not merely the hunting ground, but the declining health of the forest itself in your lands. Are your healers struggling with the blight affecting the elder trees? Xander felt a surge of admiration for her intuition. Lyra had subtly shifted the focus from a territorial dispute to a shared environmental problem. Cale's rigid posture faltered slightly, surprise flickering in his eyes. He hadn't expected such a direct, yet empathetic, observation from an Alpha Luna. We have had some challenges, Cale admitted, his voice gruff but less aggressive. Lyra's words had touched upon a vulnerability he hadn't intended to expose. Over the next few days, Lyra, leveraging her knowledge of ancient healing herbs and sustainable foraging practices, suggested a joint initiative. Moonwood's skilled healers would assist Stonefang in revitalizing their blighted forests in exchange for a shared, temporary use of the disputed hunting ground, with strict quotas and mutual observation. The proposal, a testament to Lyra's diplomatic brilliance and Xander's willingness to innovate, not only resolved the immediate conflict, but forged a new, stronger alliance between the two packs. It was a tangible example of how their unique leadership, born from overcoming deception, fostered cooperation over confrontation and empathy over aggression. Rhea, now 28, blossomed into her role as the Moonwood Pack's premier spiritual and emotional healer. The scars of her stolen bond had faded, replaced by a profound empathy that resonated deeply with those who sought her counsel. She no longer carried the weight of what might have been, but instead embraced the undeniable truth of her chosen path. Her connection with Rhea, the now beta of the Riverbend Pack, had deepened into a beautiful, unconventional love that transcended the expectations of traditional fated mates. Their bond was a quiet, enduring flame, fueled by mutual respect, shared laughter, and an unspoken understanding that sometimes the greatest destinies are those you choose to forge for yourself. They had built a life that seamlessly blended the traditions of both packs. Rhea, strong and steady, was Rhea's unwavering anchor, always there to listen without judgment, to offer quiet support when her empathic nature sometimes overwhelmed her. Their shared home, strategically located near the border, served as a neutral ground, a place where members from both packs could seek counsel or simply share a meal in peace. They had 2 children, Lyra, a vivacious daughter with Rhea's bright hazel eyes and a keen interest in medicinal herbs, and Caleb, a thoughtful son who inherited Rhea's quiet strength and a remarkable ability to calm even the most agitated of young wolves. Lyra, at 7, was a whirlwind of curious energy, constantly trailing Rhea through the forest, memorizing every plant, every berry, every root. "Mama," she'd ask, her voice bright, "is this good for a fever or for a broken heart?" Rhea would smile, her heart swelling with love, and patiently explain the nuances of each. Caleb, 5, was often found observing the older wolves during training, his gaze intense, absorbing every detail. He had a natural affinity for understanding wolf behavior, often intuitively knowing when a pup was distressed or an elder needed a quiet companion. Rhea and Rhea ensured their children understood the unique circumstances of their own bond and the history of their aunts and uncles, instilling in them the importance of truth, choice, and unconditional love. The Moonwood Pack's own children were thriving under Lyra and Xander's care. Their son, Kian, now 12, was a striking blend of both parents. Xander's tall, powerful frame and intense dark eyes, softened by Lyra's thoughtful gaze and quiet confidence. He possessed an innate leadership quality, often mediating disputes among younger pups and taking responsibility for the success of their training exercises. Their daughter, Seraphina, 10, was a whirlwind of spirited energy, with Lyra's silver-gray eyes and a fierce, protective streak inherited from Xander. She was fiercely loyal, inquisitive, and possessed an almost uncanny ability to read the emotions of those around her. Lyra often dedicated specific time each day to her children, ensuring they understood their heritage, their responsibilities, and the nuanced history of their pack. She told them the story of the mating ceremony, of Anya's deception, and of the profound truth that ultimately prevailed, not as a scary tale, but as a lesson in resilience and faith. "So, Aunt Rhea wasn't Uncle Xander's true mate?" Seraphina asked one evening, her eyes wide, trying to fully grasp the concept. "No, sweet wolf," Lyra explained gently, brushing a stray lock of hair from Seraphina's face. "The Luna had a different path for them. Anya's magic tried to trick that path, but it couldn't change the destination. Aunt Rhea found her own true happiness with Alpha Reese, a happiness chosen and built with love." She looked at Kian, who was listening intently. "And your father and I, our bond was always meant to be, waiting for the shadows to clear." Kian, thoughtful as always, mused. "So, it's not just about the snap of the bond, is it? It's also about what you do with it, and what you choose to believe in." Lyra smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Precisely, Kian. The Luna guides us, but we also walk our own path, choosing courage and truth along the way. The Moonwood Pack, now a beacon of stability and progressive leadership, found itself facing new, more subtle challenges as the decades advanced. The threat of direct attacks from rogue wolves or territorial disputes had diminished, replaced by the complexities of an increasingly interconnected world of wolf packs. Trade routes had expanded, alliances had deepened, but with increased interaction came new forms of friction, cultural misunderstandings, and the occasional lingering shadow of skepticism from older, more traditional packs who viewed Moonwood's unique leadership and its origins with cautious reverence. One such challenge arose during the triannual gathering of the Northern Packs, a vast congregation of alphas, lunas, and their most trusted advisors. The Moonwood Pack, with Xander and Lyra at its helm, was always treated with a mix of respect and quiet fascination. This year, however, whispers began to circulate about a new, emerging spiritual movement among some of the smaller, more isolated packs, a movement that advocated for an extreme interpretation of the Luna's will, dismissing any bond not immediately apparent at birth as tainted or unholy. This fundamentalist ideology, though not directly attacking Moonwood, severely undermined the very foundation of Lyra and Xander's bond, and more painfully, Rhea's chosen happiness. Alpha Kale of Stonefang, now a trusted ally, approached Xander and Lyra with concern. "These purists, as they call themselves, are gaining traction," he warned, his gruff voice low. "They preach a rigid adherence to the old ways, claiming any deviation from a perfect bond, like yours, Luna Lyra, or Alpha Reese's and Rhea's, is an affront to the Luna. It's causing unrest among our younger generations, those who hear their sermons." Xander's jaw tightened. "They seek to sow division where there is none," he stated, his voice calm but with an undeniable edge. "Our bond was recognized by the Luna and cleansed by her will. Rhea and Reese found a profound, undeniable connection, blessed by their own hearts. Lyra, however, saw the deeper danger. "It is not just about our bonds, Xander," she said, her voice thoughtful. "They are using us as examples, symbols to divide. They seek to undermine the very concept of resilience, of overcoming adversity, of healing. They preach fear, not faith. They knew a direct confrontation would only fuel the purists' narrative of persecution. Instead, Lyra proposed a different approach, a demonstration of the Luna's true grace, expressed through action and unwavering example. During the gathering's communal feast, a young she-wolf from a remote pack, overwhelmed by the sheer number of wolves and the grandeur of the setting, suffered a sudden, severe seizure. Panic erupted. Most healers, trained in traditional remedies, were momentarily at a loss, their skills more suited to battle wounds or common ailments. Lyra, without a moment's hesitation, stepped forward. Her movements were fluid, instinctual. She knelt beside the convulsing she-wolf, her silver eyes radiating a calming energy. She placed her hands gently on the young wolf's forehead and chest, murmuring ancient chants that resonated with the very pulse of the earth. Her touch was not merely physical, it was a conduit for the Luna's healing energy, a profound spiritual balm. Within moments, the she-wolf's thrashing subsided, her breathing eased, and a soft, peaceful sigh escaped her lips as she drifted into a restorative slumber. A hushed awe fell over the assembled alphas and pack members. This was not just healing. This was a manifestation of true Luna power, a profound connection to the divine that transcended any rigid dogma. Later that week, at the closing ceremonies, Lyra addressed the gathering, her voice clear and resonant, carrying across the vast clearing. She spoke not of the recent incident, but of the Luna's boundless love, of the intricate tapestry of destiny, and of the different forms that true connection could take. She spoke of her own bond, not with boastfulness, but with profound humility, acknowledging the pain of its origin, but emphasizing the strength it had forged. She then invited Rhea to speak, who, with Rhys by her side, eloquently shared her own journey of heartbreak and healing, of finding a love chosen with intent and nurtured with unwavering commitment. Rhea's words, filled with raw honesty and a profound peace, resonated deeply with many, particularly the younger wolves who felt trapped by rigid expectations. She spoke of how the Luna's will was not a cage, but a guiding light, allowing for individual journeys and unique expressions of love and purpose. The impact was undeniable. The purists, stripped of their dramatic narrative by the sheer force of Lyra's healing power and Rhea's heartfelt testimony, found their influence waning. The younger generations, witnessing the powerful, undeniable love between Lyra and Xander, and the equally profound, chosen love of Rhea and Rhys, began to question the narrow-minded teachings of the fundamentalists. The Moonwood Pack, with its unique history, had become a living embodiment of adaptive strength, compassionate leadership, and the multifaceted nature of the Luna's grace. As the years continued their relentless, comforting march, Lyra and Xander's legacy solidified into something truly extraordinary. Their reign was marked by a quiet revolution within wolf society, one that prioritized empathy, intellectual growth, and nuanced understanding over raw power and rigid dogma. The Moonwood Pack's reputation as a haven of progressive thought and profound spiritual connection spread far and wide, attracting young wolves from other packs who sought refuge from outdated traditions or simply yearned for a community that valued their individual spirits. Their children, Kian and Seraphina, grew into formidable young adults, each carving their own distinct paths within the pack, yet deeply rooted in the values their parents had painstakingly instilled. Kian, now a young Alpha training at 25, was a natural leader, embodying the perfect blend of his parents' strengths. He possessed Xander's commanding presence and strategic acumen, but also Lyra's thoughtful introspection and innate diplomatic skill. He spent his days in rigorous training, learning the intricacies of pack defense and resource management under Xander's watchful eye. Yet, he also dedicated countless hours to studying ancient texts with Lyra, delving into the philosophical underpinnings of pack law and the spiritual significance of the Luna's will. He was a keen observer, often noticing subtle shifts in pack dynamics or external threats before others. One particularly harsh winter, an unexpected and devastating ice storm crippled their usual hunting grounds, threatening a severe food shortage. Panic began to ripple through the pack. While the elders debated traditional hunting routes and risky expeditions into unfamiliar territories, Kian, after a quiet conversation with Lyra about sustainable practices, proposed an unconventional solution. He suggested focusing resources on cultivating subterranean fungi farms and expanding their stored root cellars, methods learned from ancient, almost forgotten scrolls Lyra had translated. It was a laborious, non-traditional approach, but Kian argued its long-term sustainability. Xander, after initial hesitation, trusted Lyra's quiet nod and his son's conviction. Kian led the effort, organizing younger wolves with an efficiency that earned him their unwavering respect. The fungi farms, though small, provided crucial sustenance through the leanest months, averting a crisis and proving Kian's innovative leadership. Seraphina, at 23, was a vibrant force of nature, her silver eyes sparkling with an unquenchable curiosity and a fierce sense of justice. She inherited her mother's profound connection to the Luna's energy, but manifested it in a more direct, almost fiery manner. While Kian focused on the pragmatic aspects of leadership, Seraphina gravitated towards the spiritual well-being of the pack, particularly the younger generations. She became a mentor for unmated wolves, offering guidance and comfort during the often anxious period of waiting for one's bond to snap. She openly shared the story of her parents' and aunt's unique bonds, emphasizing that the Luna's timing and path were sacred, and that true love could manifest in countless ways. Seraphina also displayed a remarkable aptitude for identifying subtle forms of emotional manipulation or nascent resentments within the pack. She possessed a keen sense for dishonesty, a trait undoubtedly sharpened by her family's history. If a new wolf joined the pack, or if a disagreement festered beneath the surface, Seraphina often sensed it, gently bringing the underlying tension to Lyra or Xander's attention, allowing them to address it before it escalated. Her direct, yet empathetic approach made her an invaluable asset in maintaining the pack's harmonious internal dynamics. Rhea and Rhea's children, Lyra and Caleb, also flourished, embodying the unique blend of their parents' strengths. Lyra, now 15, was a prodigy in medicinal herbs and healing, her touch as gentle and effective as her mother's. She spent as much time in the Moonwood Infirmary with Lyra and Elder Thorn as she did in the Riverbend's healing sanctuary with Rhea. She was developing a reputation for her ability to diagnose rare ailments and concoct complex, effective remedies. Caleb, 13, had grown into a remarkably astute and observant young wolf. He possessed a quiet, almost unnerving ability to understand the deeper currents of pack politics and inter-pack relations. He preferred observing from the sidelines, absorbing every nuance, every unspoken gesture. Rhys often brought him to smaller diplomatic meetings, subtly teaching him the art of negotiation and the importance of understanding underlying motives. Caleb was destined to be a strong, wise beta, following in his father's footsteps. The Moonwood Pack's annual mating ceremony, now steeped in the added layers of their unique history, became a profound celebration of both fated destiny and chosen love. Lyra and Xander, standing at the heart of the clearing, their energies perfectly intertwined, radiated a powerful, comforting assurance. They would always emphasize the sanctity of the bond, but also the importance of patience, of self-discovery, and the profound truth that happiness could bloom even from paths less traveled. One clear spring evening, as the mating ceremony approached, a nervous young she-wolf, her scent thick with anxiety, approached Lyra. "Lyra," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "What if my bond doesn't snap? What if I am not chosen? What if I am like Anya?" Lyra knelt, her silver eyes kind and understanding. "No, sweet wolf," she said softly, taking the young wolf's trembling hands in her own. "You are nothing like Anya. Her path was one of malice and deceit. Your heart is pure, filled with honest hope. The Luna's will is never about punishment, but about purpose." She squeezed her hands gently. "And if your bond does not snap this year, or even the next, it is not a sign of rejection. It is simply a sign that your true path, your unique purpose, is still unfolding. Trust in the Luna's timing, and trust in your own heart, for it is the truest guide to the profound love and belonging that awaits you." The young wolf nodded, a newfound calm settling in her eyes, her scent of anxiety slowly dissipating. Lyra stood, watching her walk away, a quiet satisfaction in her heart. The legacy of a stolen bond was not just a story of a past wrong, but a living, breathing lesson in resilience, truth, and the boundless, sometimes mysterious nature of the Luna's enduring grace. Lyra and Xander, together with Rhea and Rhys, had not just led a pack, they had redefined what it meant to be a wolf, proving that even the deepest scars could become powerful symbols of enduring strength and profound love. The Moonwood Pack stood as a vibrant testament to this truth, thriving under the benevolent gaze of a Luna whose will, ultimately, was always for the highest good.